So at this point, we're starting with Mary, who has already established an account and logged in. You notice she gave herself some patient notes, and she also has uploaded a report that includes a diagnostic x-ray. For this demo, we're going to show off some of the FHIR connection capabilities of myFHR. So we're going to go over to the Settings tab and click on Add a Provider Data Source. This list shows all the available provider data sources. You can also search by state, zip code, name, or anything else like that. In this case, we're going to connect to Epic. In this case, we're going to allow access, and that will take us back to the myFHR app. In the app, in this case, we need to associate the Mary A account from Epic to the Mary A account that myFHR knows about. This only happens if not all of the identifying fields can be lined up between the patients that as myFHR sees it and as the provider sees it. So now you can see we have a connection to Epic Sandbox as a data provider, and right now the app is going out and downloading Mary's information from Epic and loading it into the system. And as you can see, when we refresh this, the data has been downloaded a few seconds ago. If we go back to Mary's profile, we can see she now has medications. If we click into the medication list, we can see everything that myFHR is aware of, and in this case, all of it came from that Epic connection. Going back to the settings screen, we're going to connect to another data source. In this case, it'll be CareEvolution's provider data source. CareEvolution provides a screen that allows the user to select a patient from all the patients that they have access to. If CareEvolution's provider allowed Mary to see her children or her parents or her spouse, they would also be listed in this list right here. And depending on who she's trying to log in as and whose data she's trying to download, she would select them from the list. In this case, she'll just select herself, and you'll see that the CareEvolution FHIR and provider is added to the list of data sources. And we fetched data. Now when we look at the medications, we see a combined list from both data sources. In this case, it's quite a bit longer. You can also see that we've called out that not all of your providers know about all of your medications, and we can drill into that to see exactly what it means. On the summary screen, you'll see that all the providers know about these 4 medications, and only some providers know about these 4 medications. But since only 2 of them are currently active, we're only going to focus on those. So you can see CareEvolution is unaware of this one, and Epic is unaware of this one. If you wanted to, you could drill down and take the perspective of one of these 2 providers. In this case, let's say we have an appointment at the Epic provider. Now, when talking to the doctor or nurse during your appointment, you can say that you're not aware that I am taking prednisone, and that's coming from CareEvolution. So they can add that to the list and be aware of everything that you're actually taking. Now, let's add one more data source. In this case, we're going to connect to the Cedars-Sinai test box. Cedars-Sinai is actually running a FHIR endpoint in production, and patients that go to Cedars-Sinai as one of their providers will have a login to production and be able to pull their data into the myFHR app. Since Cedars-Sinai uses Epic, this screen should look familiar. It looks exactly like the Epic sandbox. And after everything has been established, you'll see Cedars-Sinai has been added to the list and is currently waiting for its first update. And now we've fetched data. So again, if we go back to the profile, we'll see there's a couple extra things in here that we were able to pull from Cedars-Sinai, including immunizations and allergies. We can also see that the medication list has grown, in this case by quite a bit. If we wanted to, we could provide a little extra detail here by changing the view. And now we can see who the prescriber is, what the medication class is, and where each of these pieces of data came from. So you can see there's quite a bit of varying data from Cedars-Sinai. In this case, we can see that lisinopril is known by all three providers, but only Cedars-Sinai knows about this one. We also have a feature where if we know about all the medications Mary's taking, we can notify the user about things like drug-drug interactions. So in this particular case, we can see that there is an interaction between an SSRI and an NSAID. And because we know that that's an important interaction and that Mary should be aware that it could cause intestinal bleeding, she should probably talk to her doctors and do something about it. We can also allow Mary to edit this medication list and say, for instance, she's not actually taking this potassium chloride. When she updates the list, potassium chloride will be added to the bottom in her inactive. She can also choose to add medications that none of her providers know about. For instance, she can say that she takes melatonin to help her sleep. And now melatonin has been added to the list.